AI agents are not mainly an intelligence story anymore. They are becoming a management problem, and that sounds boring until you picture what it means inside a real company. A developer installs a coding agent, a sales team connects a helper to customer records, someone wires an agent into a ticketing system. Another team lets a bot read a wiki, summarize documents, and trigger actions. Individually, each one looks useful. Together, they become a workforce nobody can fully see. That is the real meaning behind Microsoft taking Agent 365 out of preview and into general availability. The headline is a product launch. The verdict is sharper. If AI agents are going to act inside companies, then companies now need a control plane for digital workers, not someday, now. Here's the part that matters. Microsoft is framing this around something it calls shadow AI. Think shadow IT, but more dangerous. Shadow IT was when employees used unsanctioned apps, cloud drives, or messaging tools without permission. Annoying, yes. Risky, yes. But mostly those tools stored information or moved it around. Agents are different. They can read data, make decisions, call tools, chain actions together, and operate with a person's permissions. So the question changes from what software is installed to who or what is allowed to act. That is a much bigger governance problem. In VentureBeat's report, Microsoft's AI security lead described the uncomfortable middle ground companies are stuck in. On one side is YOLO, let every agent run, because productivity is exciting and nobody wants to slow down the business. On the other side is oh no, block everything, because security teams can already see the accident coming. Most companies cannot live at either extreme. They need the agents, but they also need breaks, identity, logging, permissions, and a way to shut things down when the agent starts touching the wrong system. That is why Agent 365 is interesting. It is not being pitched as another chatbot. It is a registry and policy layer for agents across Microsoft tools, third-party clouds, SaaS platforms, and even local machines. In plain English, Microsoft wants IT teams to see the agents, label them, control what they can access, and monitor what they do. The product can cover agents acting on behalf of a user, agents with their own credentials, and agents working in team workflows. It is also priced like a governance layer, $15 per user per month as a standalone product, or bundled into Microsoft's higher-end enterprise suite. That price detail matters because it tells you how Microsoft sees the market. The agent itself may come from anywhere, a coding tool, a CRM assistant, a support bot, a custom workflow, but the control layer around those agents might become the durable business. And now for the scary bit. Microsoft says it is already seeing real categories of incidents. One is developers connecting MCP servers or agent tools to sensitive backend systems and accidentally exposing them without proper authentication. That is not science fiction. That is the classic "it worked on my machine" problem, upgraded into an internet-facing data leak. The second is cross-prompt injection. That means an attacker hides malicious instructions inside something an agent reads: a ticket, a web page, a wiki entry, a document. The agent thinks it is processing normal information, but buried inside is an instruction telling it to leak data, change behavior, or call the wrong tool. The third issue is simpler and probably more common. Old data loss prevention systems were not built for agents. They understand humans, apps, and files. They do not always understand a semi-autonomous helper moving across systems with delegated permissions, so sensitive data can flow to a vendor, a tool, or a workflow that was never supposed to see it. This is the mind shift. For the last 2 years, people asked, how smart is the model? Now the better question is, what can this agent touch? That is the question that decides whether agents become useful infrastructure or a security nightmare, and it changes how companies should think about adoption. If you are a founder, manager, developer, or security person, the first job is not to ban every agent. That will fail. People will use the tools that help them move faster. The smarter move is to treat agents like a new class of employee-like software. They need identity. They need least privilege permissions. They need logs. They need approval gates for dangerous actions. They need a list of systems they are allowed to touch, and a list they should never touch without a human. In other words, the future of AI at work is not just more autonomy, it is supervised autonomy. That may sound less glamorous than a fully independent digital worker, but it is probably how agents become real. Not when they can do everything, when companies can trust them to do the right thing, in the right place, with a visible paper trail. So yes, Microsoft launched another enterprise product. But the quiet part is bigger than Microsoft. The AI era is moving from look what the model can answer to look what the agent is allowed to do. And once software can act, control becomes the product.